Guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about UTV insurance policies. I think this is a really important topic, something that can be found helpful to new people getting into the sport and buying these super expensive machines. And of course, all of us current owners, guys and gals that have sunk a lot of money into them, and we want to make sure our investments are protected. Hopefully this video serves as a platform and we can all comment and make sure we help each other get the right information. First and foremost, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about subscribing. I'd appreciate it if you did. There's lots of great videos out there, lots of great videos coming, and it seems like the majority of the people viewing the videos aren't actually subscribed to the channel, so make sure you have your notifications on as well. So let's get into this, guys. I've done a lot of research on insurance because I've got a lot of money into this RZR and I want to make sure it's protected. And as it turns out, some of the insurance I thought that I had, I did not have. Some of the coverages I thought I had, I did not have. So let me explain. What happened is the first company that was suggested to me was from the dealership when I bought the RZR, and it was for Foremost Insurance. They said, hey, you should get insurance. And I said, hey, I agree, this is really expensive. And so I went with Foremost because I think full coverage insurance for the year was about $220 or $250. That was right at the end of 2016 when I bought it. And I thought, man, that's a drop in the bucket to make sure this whole thing's covered. That's awesome. As I started doing upgrades, I started to wonder if the upgrades were covered by the insurance policy, because in my mind, there's got to be a limit to what they're going to cover, right? Of course, that makes sense. They won't cover everything that I do to it. So I called them, and they explained, yes, you're correct, sir. We are only going to cover stock components or a stock machine that same year, make, and model. So as things progress and as years and time passes, that amount is going to go down. And yes, if you slap on an awesome cage and then you break the cage somehow, we're not covering that cage. We're covering a stock cage. And so I called several insurance companies. They all said the same thing, that full coverage insurance was just for stock, like-for-like components. There was very rare occasions where they made exceptions for some small things, but across the board, no insurance company was willing to cover all of the aftermarket money and mods that I've sunk into it. Turns out Foremost Insurance is one of the few companies that write custom policies. And so what that means is you can state a cash value that you want to be reimbursed or you think the vehicle's worth, and they'll write you an insurance policy for that amount. Now, of course, they're not just going to do it based off your word. I had to send them receipts and things as I progressed and as I built the car to make sure I was backing up my claims with proof that I did spend this money and they were items that were on the vehicle. I think I even sent photographs at the time. And at the end of, I want to say, about a year and a half after I bought it, I ended up writing the policy for every dime invested into the vehicle, including the majority of that, the retail value of it, brand new. And I wrote a policy for $44,000. That's just the number we came up with because I wanted every dime should something happen, you know, thinking complete loss scenario. Now, also with a custom policy, if you do doors and cage and all that kind of stuff, they're going to replace it like for like, whoever the manufacturer, until they hit that number, until they hit 44 grand. So basically, you're good to go, right, when you write something out. Write something like that. Now, the downside to it is obviously it gets really expensive. So it went from about 220 or 50 bucks, whatever it was, to have that policy for 44 grand at the time. It ended up costing me. Now, keep in mind, any quotes that I give you, that's based off my record. So they're going to take all this into account. When you call for insurance, they're going to look at your record just like every other kind of insurance, and you're going to get a rate based off of your history. So this is just in my experience and what I'm paying, okay? It's going to be different for everybody. But for 44 grand, it was costing me $980 a year, $980 a year. And yes, I thought that was really expensive, spending $1,000 a year. It's definitely the most expensive vehicle I own to insure by far, by a landslide. But again, being that you beat the crap out of these things off-road and you're freaking sailing over sand dunes and doing 70 miles an hour through whoops, things could happen. We see it happen all the time. So I wanted to make sure it was covered, so I went with it. Now, come to this year, 2020, I get a renewal in the mail, and it's over tripled, guys. It went from $980 to $3,360, change, something like that, to have that same insurance policy. Now I was floored, and I was convinced that they made a mistake. Somebody there just made a mistake, simple, typed error, typed mistake into the computer, and this is going to be corrected. So I called over there, and nope, they didn't say this word for word, but we see it on Instagram, we see it on YouTube, we see how fast and how big these things are getting, and all of these new people are buying them, and they're going out and they're freaking wrecking them week 1 or month 2, and they've got insurance and they're sending in claims, going buying another one and wrecking that one. And it's unfortunate, but basically the insurance rates have skyrocketed because of the payouts. Right now, again, these weren't foremost words, but I was trying to pick up what they were laying down in the explanation. Right, they can't say that, but basically we know what's going on. Now there's no freaking way $3,300. I can't. That's unaffordable. That's unaffordable insurance. Meaning, regardless if I can pay it or not, I can't justify that amount of money to insure something. That's a huge chunk of money. Called around and again, talked to insurance companies about full coverage, and again, everybody was saying, nope, at this point, at the age of the car and it being compared to just a stock one, if you have something happen, the insurance companies are no good for heavily modified vehicles. They're just no good. You'll get something, but it's going to be a drop in the bucket compared to what you got invested like I do, and a lot of us in the same situation. So I went back to Foremost, and I said, well, with depreciation and everything else, the car's going on 4 years old, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite a policy. Now, keep in mind, I lowered this amount that I told you, or I'm going to tell you, to an amount not that I think necessarily is retail, I shouldn't say retail. It's definitely nowhere what I've got invested into, and nowhere near that anymore. But if I had to go buy a vehicle, this would give me my choice of vehicle to get started again, at least to get started over. So depreciation and everything else, you got to take that into consideration. So I dropped it down to $35,000. Now I've got even more expensive stuff coming right now, as you guys know, that I'm going to be putting onto it. So knock on wood, we're good to go for a while. But I rewrote the policy for $35,000, and for me, this year that made insurance $1,580. Which is still a huge bummer, but I'll tell you, one of our buddies who hasn't had a vehicle very long, I'm not going to say who he is, it's not Randall, by the way, just a new side-by-side owner, went out, third month of owning his vehicle, and this is just 2 weeks ago, rolled it, does not have insurance, just bought the thing, and unfortunately he'll be okay. He's going to get it squared away and fixed up, but he's out thousands and thousands of dollars in the blink of an eye, just a quick accident. And I'm sure he's going to have insurance now, but that's a drag, and that's why I have to have insurance, and a lot of us have to have it. Not only for that situation, that's a stock vehicle, but you're talking about, you roll this over behind me, and to get it done like for like with the stuff that I have on there from the manufacturers that I've chosen, I mean, you're talking, you'd easily be out $10,000 to $15,000 if you roll a machine that you've built up. So I find it worth it to have insurance. I'm still bitter about how much it costs. Kind of bitter about all the people wrecking them all the time. That's driven them to cost so high. But you guys all know it's just something that you end up, you can't get around. It is what it is if you have insurance. So again, if you have insurance and if you didn't know these two types of policies existed, or if you had full coverage and you thought everything was covered and you just found out through this video you might not be, call your agent, call your insurance company and ask, let them know what you've done, and try to find out if you've got the right coverage, because I'd hate to think anybody thinks that they're covered like me and they go out and they have an accident and they're up creek because their insurance company's saying, no, we're not covering any of that. So let us know, guys. Drop them in the comments. Again, I hope this is a real topic heavy video in the comments, and people can help and share, and people can find useful information. But that's what I had today. That is today's video, talking about this and hoping that this helps some of you guys out there. Like I said, plans are moving ahead. Trips are still scheduled. Everything's still there. And we're moving forward. I'm working on, once this is done, once we get the suspension squared away, doing some more day trip videos. Outside of adventure trips, I'm gonna make that happen. I've got some things in the works to make that a little bit easier for my situation. And that's it, man. That's all I know right now. Hope everything's going well for you guys. We're all pretty much in the lockdown situation from what I know, and what I've seen on the news. A lot of us are spending a lot of time right here in the garage, hanging out with our toys, and your families and whomever you've got, and hopefully everybody's healthy and happy and employed and all that good stuff, guys. So stay tuned. Again, subscribe. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you real soon on a video here shortly we've got coming up. Also just had some flags made, so I'm working on getting some things made with channel font and logos and that kind of thing. So I just placed an order for some flags. Pretty excited about that. That's it. I hope you guys are doing well. Let us all know, and I'll be looking for the comments, see hopefully some interesting information on this topic. And yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate you all. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.